Hey guys, what's up? Mel Williams back. I am not gonna lie, I have been enjoying my time away from social media and not posting, but obviously this is important enough to me to want to continue to do this work. So I told you guys the last time that I wanted to revamp the platform. I wanted to focus on talking more to men, and I niched down a little bit more, and I want to talk to men who actually care about understanding women, who care about women, who love women, who respect women. So that's where all of this content is shifting to. And I've been writing notes and things I want to talk about. And of course, I also have with me today my book that I published, which we will also be talking a lot about. So ladies, if you still want to hang around on the platform, that's great. You can definitely still learn some of the insights from what I will be sharing with the men. But again, I really want to focus on talking more to the men when it comes to this content, because I really feel that this is what is going to be most helpful and most beneficial. There are a lot of content creators out there that talk about, you know, what's wrong, patriarchy and all of that, and it's necessary, it's needed because it raises awareness, but we also want to be focusing on the solutions and how to actually make progress and move forward ahead. And what I have realized and found a lot of is that there are a lot of men out there that are confused, that are lost. Again, patriarchy is something that we know doesn't benefit or help them either. It traps them as well. And so I understand that there's a lot of frustration, especially with women, because we are the ones that are on the receiving end of men buying into patriarchy and how harmful it can be. But men are also being harmed as well. And so rather than continue to go back and forth, my whole purpose and my whole drive has been to figure out how do we get to actually making progress on a grand scale, on a more massive scale. So that's everything that I do. That's everything that I am pushing for. So that's why I decided to shift my focus and content from just talking about relationship advice in general, from just talking to women, from just talking more so at men and the frustrations that we all have experienced with patriarchy and the mentality that men are buying into. So yeah, this platform again is shifting more so to focus on talking to men that respect women, men that care about understanding women, men that care about actually benefiting from relationships in a meaningful, purposeful way that is not self-serving, that is not selfish, men that actually are just decent human beings and that actually care and respect women again. Okay, and we're going to dive more into that as I continue to create more of these videos. But I do have here, and yes, I am using a planner. I decided to kind of repurpose a planner because it was so pretty. Like, I love this like suede with the gold. But I wanted to I basically repurposed this planner to take notes on some of the things I want to talk about. And what I wanted to talk about today is basically more of the relaunch, more of the mission and purpose, and where we're going to be heading in with this platform. All right, so for today's post, I actually did have some notes on my phone that I had scribbled down, and then I'm just going to talk off the top of my head. So real quick, short little blurb. I think it's time, long past time, that we separate the men who love women from those who hate women. Okay, so it's a really long past time for us to separate the love and hate. Okay, obviously patriarchy conditions men, whether they realize it or not, and a lot of them, I believe, they are self-aware enough to know that their behaviors, their actions, the words, how they are treating women is not good. Okay, it obviously comes from a place of not love. So not necessarily hate, but definitely from a place that's not loving, that's not caring, that's not respectful. So they may not outright hate women, but obviously they are not coming from a good, genuine place because it is harmful to women, whether it's being manipulative, whether it's being controlling, abusive. Like, this is something that goes on a spectrum. It's not just a black and white either or thing. It can range on spectrums. Even men that think they are good men can actually be harming women, and they may not even realize it. Again, this is all due to patriarchy conditioning. So it's long past time that we separate men who love women from those who hate us and move accordingly. I think we as a human race need to do a better job of caring about making living on this planet more enjoyable for each other through simple acts of consideration and respect. And really, when you get down to the heart and root of the matter, what it really boils down to is, do we respect each other? Do we have consideration for each other? Because if you don't care, if you don't have respect for someone, then obviously you do not love them. Okay, so when we talk about these bigger, grander ideals and ideas of love, of, you know, relationships, healthy relationships, what that looks like, all these other things, even like things like trauma bonding, it all boils down to the basic essentials of consideration and respect, first for ourselves, caring about ourselves and our well-being, and then also for extending that consideration, that respect for another person, because that's what relationships really boils down to. Okay, it's a relationship with yourself as well as the relationship that you can extend or experience with another person as a result of the relationship that you have with yourself. So it always involves self, okay? So I think we as a human race need to do a better job of caring about living on this planet, more making it more enjoyable for each other through simple acts of consideration and respect. Patriarchy and religion, of course, fucks all of that up, okay? Patriarchy and religion, we'll get more into that, but it fucks a lot of that up. And so that's why you've seen me reposting and resharing a lot of content that is deconstructing things like religion and patriarchy, because those two go hand in hand. Those are like basically siblings, they're brothers, all right? So again, I really want to focus on talking to the men now who want to get it, who enjoy and love and respect women. And if you're the kind of person that wants to bitch and moan about, women complaining and whatnot, or about men even, like, this is not going to be the channel for you, because I don't want to focus on like complaining. I want to focus on what can we actually do in our individual day-to-day lives, as well as collectively, to make this problem better, okay, to improve it. And that's not saying that women have to, make up for men and do work on men. Again, this is why I shifted my focus to talking more so to men that actually want to get it, that actually want to experience the best of relationships with women. A lot of the trauma bonding, destructiveness, and chaos that we see in relationships, I believe it is 100% preventable and avoidable if we were more willing to like really just sit back, take a step back, and first do some self-examination, some self-awareness before we just jump into stuff. There's so much information, so much half truth, so much, things that are true, things that are not true, things that are mixed with a little bit of, truth and not truth. Like, there's so much out there that we can get caught up in, and it's easy to get caught up in. And of course, when you're young and learning, you don't know what's what, and you're going to have to figure some of this stuff out for yourself. A lot of our predecessors, our parents, grandparents, they did not do a good job of figuring this out for themselves. As human beings, our brains, our survival instincts chooses the path of least resistance. We follow the crowds, we do what everybody else is doing. And so we think that when we follow what everyone else is doing, that we are actually, again, it's the path of least resistance. We are saving ourselves a lot of thinking, a lot of trouble by just going with the flow. But in the long run, we often end up costing ourselves a lot more, because we just go with the flow and do what everyone else is doing just to get the same results that most people get. Okay, so again, this platform is going to require you to be self-aware, at least a little bit self-aware. It's going to require you to be the kind of person that's a proactive person, that takes action, that doesn't just like soak in information and then it just like goes in one ear and out the other. You actually do something with the information that you're getting, and then you're going to really start to see the benefits of showing up in your life. Okay, so I want to say that's all that I had for the notes, so you guys understand the platform, the repurposing of the platform, where it's going. Also, you may have seen me post about this book. Okay, this is a book that I wrote, and it's going to be a series of books. So this is actually the first book in a series. It's called Sovereign: Become Destined for a Meaningful, Happy Life with the Right Woman. Again, targeting men that actually want to understand women, men that respect women, that care about women, that actually want to be better at relationships, that are not just sitting around complaining about not having a girlfriend, never having kissed a girl before, X, Y, and the third. You actually want to take action. You're self-aware, you know that you need to improve, and you want to take action. Now, something else that you guys may have seen me do is posting reviews, a lot of them from men that are authors, that are male coaches for relationships and whatnot, and they are writing books. A lot of it is coming from a pickup artist community standpoint, and I realize that that's where a lot of men are getting their information from pickup artists, okay, from men that are actually using tactics that are often manipulative, that are often self-serving, and they are basically packaging it up as a means to convince other men that are either insecure, that are confused, that don't know what they're doing, using that as a means to attract men to get women. Like, hey, I can show you how to get women. I can show you how to overcome your fears of approaching women. I can show you how to, get in relationships with women. And again, everything is mixed with some truth. And a lot of it is, I would say, a lot of fluff and a lot of BS, okay? There are a lot of nuances to the topics that we're going to be covering on this platform. So again, you have to take what I say, use some, common sense, basically, okay? I'm not going to be able to cover every single nuance of every single topic. So you're going to have to understand that you have to do, some thinking, some critical thinking on your own. If you have questions, I am always open to having insightful conversations, educational conversations, or even just conversations and discussions that are coming from a place of genuine curiosity and interest, not from a place of, trying to be smart or being malicious. But yeah, so I guess like for the first video, we're going to talk a little bit about what's in this book. And it really is a guide, okay? Like I didn't write this book just to write this book. This book is actually a guide, a blueprint to help men, again, that want to understand how to experience healthy relationships with women and how to actually enjoy the benefits of being in a relationship, a healthy relationship with the right woman, okay? How to vet for the right woman, all these things. But we first have to start with obviously the problem. And getting back to the reviews that I've been doing with these other authors, these men that are writing books to help men, supposedly help men with dating and all of that, like something else that we have to realize is that a lot of them are not addressing the elephant in the room, which is patriarchy. Okay, a lot of them are not addressing things like patriarchy and religion that are obviously misogynistic, that are obviously degrading to women, obviously not seeing women as equal parts human as men. Okay, and so how can you have a partnership with someone that you don't see as fully human or as equal parts human? All right, so when women talk about, you know, being equal to men, we're not saying that we do the same things, look the same way, X, Y, and the third. We're talking about more so going back to what I was talking about earlier, the respect and consideration that you would have, that a decent human to human relationship connection requires. When we talk about especially intimate relationships, let alone business interactions or where we are looking out for each other and benefiting each other, where it is mutually beneficial, okay? So again, it goes back to that consideration and respect, okay? When we talk about being equal, all these things, it's not talking about, oh, you can compete and do the same things or you can, you know, get the same things. It's talking about basic consideration and respect, okay? And so where we start off in this book, which is free, by the way, you can get your copy free. Just have to pay for shipping and handling. And I created this little gift box for you guys, for those of you that are interested. All right, so where we start in this book and where a lot of men that I realize a lot of you are coming from, a lot of you are coming from a place of sexual frustration and insecurity and egotistical, I would call it also as well, insecurities. Okay, ego and insecurity is tied together. That's what a lot of these coaches and pickup artists are there targeting. They're targeting your fears of never having a girlfriend or never being able to get a girlfriend, of never being kissed, of never having sex. And again, you got to look at yourself first, okay? Before we get into the advice that other people give, you have to look at yourself first, okay? Where are your insecurities coming from? What's making you feel unhappy, miserable, frustrated, like a failure? What are the things that are making you feel that way? Oftentimes, it's going to come again from the overarching patriarchal conditioning that a lot of us are exposed to, okay, men and women. And this is what we mean when it says that patriarchy harms men as well. It makes you feel like failures. It makes you feel like you're not man enough. It makes you feel that you're not a man because you haven't yet had sexual relations with a woman. And that is going to drive a sense of insecurity. Oh, I've never had sex with a woman. I've never even kissed a girl. I've never even had a girlfriend. So I must not be a man. I'm not a man. Okay, according to, again, patriarchy conditioning, what other men around you are flaunting. They have all these relationships. They're in a relationship with a woman already. They're married already. They have kids, whatever it is. Okay, it makes you feel like less of a man. And so that's what's driving a lot of you to pursue women, is that, oh, I haven't checked this box yet and I feel emasculated. I don't feel like a man. I feel insecure without having checked this box. And so that's the very first thing that we talk about in this book. Okay, we talk about addressing your why. What is your purpose? What is your reason for pursuing a relationship with a woman? Is it coming from a place of insecurity and ego, or is it coming from a place of respect and consideration and actually wanting to get to know women? Your why matters, okay? And we talk about that a lot in this book. Let me see if I can find a passage real quick that can kind of highlight. There's a lot, okay? This book is pretty thick. So I took my time trying to break things down for you guys. So definitely check out the book if you're serious about relationships and understanding women. All right, so first of all, before diving into that, I do want to again highlight who this book is not for. All right, you do not need advice and you do not need a book talking about connection if you don't care about respecting women, if you don't care about consideration for women. Okay, you could have sex with women, you can, you know, have relationships with women, you could find yourself in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, marriage even, without necessarily caring and having respect for women, and a lot of people do. Okay, so this book is not for people that don't care about actually being decent human beings. Okay, if you're only interested in attracting women to fulfill your sexual desires or some other fabricated social norms like fulfilling a life purpose of creating babies, then this won't be the book for you. You can accomplish both of those things without human connection, so you don't need to read a book on how to connect with women in a way that fosters long-lasting, meaningful, fulfillment in a relationship. Okay, you don't need a book for that. So again, if you are still not self-aware enough to where you are actively being proactive about learning how to be a better person and a better individual, more so first for yourself, honestly, not just to get in a relationship and to date women. That could be a motivating factor. But honestly, the best motivating factor is going to be yourself. Because if women aren't giving you, the attention you feel that you should be getting, then that's going to discourage you. Okay, it really has to come from a place and source of inner motivation to really make this work and to last. And obviously, again, you got to care about being a better person for yourself first. Okay, you got to care about that relationship with yourself first. So we talk about that. Not so much in this book, that's going to be in the next book where we focus on singles. This book is more so about the foundational principles of understanding what the problem is, why we have so much division, so much conflict, so much competition, so much chaos between men and women. It addresses what a lot of the other relationship books do not address, which is patriarchy and a little bit of religion in this book. Okay, we want to address the elephant in the room, which is patriarchy, because patriarchy is the overarching conditioning that is shaping and forming how we look at each other, how we view each other, how we treat each other, how we approach things, how we approach the institution of marriage, how we approach, again, everyday life. Okay, it is literally shaping all of that. And so when relationship coaches do not talk about patriarchy and the social conditioning of our environments that raise us and condition how we approach relationships, then it is doing a great disservice, I feel. And that's why I wanted to write a book that it was dedicated to talking about that. Okay, so again, we want to talk about laying down the foundations of your why and your purpose. Okay, why are you pursuing women? Why are you pursuing a relationship? Is it tied to your insecurities? Is it tied to ego? Is it for the right reasons? And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting a relationship. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want a family. I want to, be in a relationship with a woman that I love and that I can trust and that I can talk to. All of that is great. But again, you have to be honest with yourself and make sure it's not coming from a place of ego and insecurity. Because if it is, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, okay? You're going to do a lot of settling. You're going to cause yourself a lot of heartache, trauma bonding, and just a lot of pain and suffering, which is what we see exactly happening in relationships today. Just flipping through here to see. So another quick passage is that I said men must not lose the humanity among themselves to pursue connections with women that regard her equally as human and with the respect any human life regardless of gender warrants. Not if the goal is to normalize healthy, long-lasting, meaningful connections that we're all happy to come home to every single day. Your why matters. Men's why matters. And unfortunately, there is a very large cultural narrative that promotes men having meaningless sex with lots of women as the reason why men seek to interact with women. Okay? So again, we got to go back to the cultural narratives that come from patriarchy that shape how we approach, women for men, that shape how you even see yourself, whether you see yourself as a man or not, because of, again, patriarchal conditionings. Okay, you haven't kissed a woman, you haven't been in a relationship with a woman, you're failing at life. If you are reaching a certain age and you haven't done X, Y, and Z yet, like these are all conditioning. These are all things that you need to be mindful of that are shaping your thoughts, which are going to shape your beliefs, which are going to shape your actions, and it's going to shape your behavior and how you interact and even approach women. Okay, and again, you can see this most evidently when it comes to things like pickup artists and the tactics that they use. Okay, how they shape and approach with women. And unfortunately, there are a lot of men out there that have been conditioned and that have bought into or gone down that pipeline with pickup artists, let alone red pill community and manosphere. So yeah, that's where this book starts off with, because I want to, like, again, really try to get to the heart of the matter and the root of things. There'll be more videos where I talk about different topics and different subjects in this book. Some of the other chapters and titles in this book, again, it's called Sovereign because I want to talk about you being in control of your life. Okay, this isn't talking about controlling and ruling over other people. It's talking about you having sovereignty of mind and being able to make your own decisions and think for yourself to break out of the matrix. I call it the patriarchy conditioning, which has created this matrix that we all unfortunately live in for the time being. So again, I want to talk about becoming sovereign, authenticity over performance, ego versus your sovereign self, ego versus your sovereign self, and patriarchy. Okay, the not so loving interest triangle. But yeah, we want to talk about you establishing your own identity, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. That's what life is about: is establishing your identity, who you are, your values, your beliefs, and then finding a partner that's going to be a part of that. All right. Then part 2 talks about the 7 deadly narratives that is killing men. And we want to talk about the narratives that patriarchy is using to condition men. Some of them are topics that involve mental and emotional health narratives, male loneliness, social isolation narratives, family and fatherhood narratives, workplace narratives, academic narratives, relationship expectations, identity, purpose, and changes. Okay, so we want to talk about these narratives that are being planted into the minds of men, and of course how it's going to interact, how you interact with women. Okay, then we want to talk about part 3. I talk about the 6 deadly narratives told to men about women that's killing relationships connections. Okay, so again, patriarchy doesn't just oppress women, it also oppresses and targets men. So in part 2, we're going to be focusing on the deadly narratives that is basically being conditioned, that's conditioning men. Then we want to talk about the narratives that are conditioning men when it comes to women and relationships. Okay, and it's really going to break down, you'll start to see how it breaks down the divide. Okay, the divide that's happening between men and women, so-called gender wars, if you will. But we're going to talk about that. And then of course we talk a little bit about religion as well. All right, so that's the direction that I am heading in, that we are shifting in. Again, you can order a free copy of this book, just pay for shipping and handling, going to the website, which is going to be in the link in my bio. If you don't see it, then you can just ask and I can send it to you. But I really want to get to the heart of the matter. There are a lot of good men out there, not enough, but there are good men out there that are doing the work, that are actually talking to other men, creating content for other men to help them become more self-aware and more self-conscious, because we can't continue to go on the way that we've been going on. Okay, the problems that women have been talking about has been ongoing for literally centuries. Okay, centuries that women have been talking about, the harms of patriarchy and religion and the damage that it's been doing. We just continue as a human race to operate the way that we've been operating. And if we continue to do that, then things are just going to get worse. So we want to start to not just talk about things, but we also want to start to create solutions, okay, real solutions to see some real change. And this is my attempt at doing that, writing this book, talking about the things that I talk about on this platform. And also in the future, I want to launch a magazine for those of you that are more visually oriented. I want to launch a magazine, and it's going to be targeting, again, men that love women, men that respect women, and that are really genuinely interested in learning to understand relationships so that they can have the families and the futures that they want when it comes to their love lives, when it comes to finding the right partner for them. All right, so that's all I'm going to say for this video. Obviously, it's probably going to be a little bit longer than my normal videos because I didn't script it. I just wanted to just get on here and share some of my thoughts and some of the directions. My future videos will probably also be very similar, so I'll try to keep them, maybe 10-15 minutes. No promises, but yeah, that's all I have for this video, and I will probably be trying to do a video at least once a week. We shall see. I'm still kind of like enjoying my time, not posting on social media, as well as brainstorming exactly the direction. But I think I do have a footing for the direction that I want things to go in. I've always had a direction, but now it's just like how to create that. And so that's kind of what I've been really working on and taking some time away from, is to just give myself time to really think, like, what does it look like to actually create a solution, to actually work in that direction, and not just regurgitate, what's wrong, but to actually like create a path forward that looks right, and that's going to get us to where we need to get to. For those of us that want to find and enjoy relationships with, men and women, whichever end of the spectrum you're on, that want to find connections that are going to be, improving the quality of relationships men and women have together.